Welcome out to the show tonight, guys. This is Eddie B from Studio 321. So Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, had a meeting with Trump today, and she informed him that they would not be allowing us to use our military to go into Mexico to deal with the drug trafficking and the cartels. Now, I wanted to redo this story again. I actually did it a couple months back, and I'm not trying to brag, but again, I'm right about this situation. I knew what they did back then was a setup leading up to this, and I'm going to explain that to you in just a minute. But anyways, guys, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps my channel. Like we always talk about, like-minded people, man. We got to stick together to get the word out. So hit that subscribe button, and every time I do a video, it will come to your phone on YouTube. But anyways, guys, so here's the thing. I know that months ago, Trump had designated cartels as terrorist groups. So I started looking into that, and I was kind of wondering, like, why would they do that, and why did they start talking about that? And then it was kind of gone. They didn't talk about it anymore. Well, he's actually been setting this up the entire time. And what they did is a cartel group, normally in the United States, you could only have the police or maybe the FBI deal with them. However, they're super powerful organizations. They're highly armed, and they're very organized. So by redesignating them as a terrorist group, what that does is it allows us to use our military technology and our military against them. So in other words, it's just like dealing with a terrorist. We can go into foreign countries. We can take them. We can execute them. We can drone strike, and we can do a lot of different stuff, which opens up the legalities on what we're allowed to do to these groups. So Trump did this months ago, and I saw the setup coming, and I was like, there's definitely something more to this than what it looked like at the time. And I was right. So they just had a meeting today, Trump and Claudia Sheinbaum. Now, she's the president of Mexico. And she informed Trump that she would not allow him to use our military inside of Mexico because of, she was touting a bunch of stuff. Oh, they're a sovereign nation. It's sacred ground and, all that blah, blah stuff. But honestly, none of that means anything, because what's really going on is Trump is publicly allowing her to step away from this situation. That's what's going on here. He's allowing her to back away from it so that the cartels won't come after her. Because the truth of the matter is, she's not the most powerful person in Mexico. Okay, those cartels, they could probably pretty easily have her killed. And it's kind of sad to say, but it's the truth. They run Mexico. Again, I did a previous podcast on this, and I believe what it was is they control about 27% of the territory in Mexico. It's mostly all the rural areas, but some of the cities as well. But they're into everything, man. They're like, and they're super. Like I said, they're super organized, super dangerous. They have people in the government. They have people everywhere. They have people in the United States, for that matter. So, she's the newer president of Mexico, and she doesn't really have that type of grip on the country to where she can just go trying to flex on the cartels, because it won't work out. And they're so ruthless. They'll kill her. They'll kill her family. They do whatever it takes to win. They don't care. So by having this meeting, I feel like this is, the United States way of publicly letting her step away and basically say, I don't have anything to do with what they're doing. Because what's coming next, I guarantee it, is we're going to start drone striking the cartels down there. And when we start doing that, man, it's going to be game on. We're going to be going down there with teams of Navy SEALs, Special Forces guys. They'll be snatching people in the middle of the night, going over the border, coming, bringing them back. And, you could say, oh, well, you can't do that. Well, look, you treat terrorists like it's wartime. Now, during the Afghan war, we were sneaking over the border of Pakistan all the time doing stuff. going in there, snatching people, snatching terrorists, bringing them back. Some of them were, we were going in there, killing them in the middle of the night, leaving. A lot of those big name terrorists were hiding out in Pakistan, and we didn't have permission to go in there and do what we did, but we did it, because again, it's wartime rules, and that's what the terrorism designation does. It allows us to treat these people like we're at war with them. So, we're going to be hopping over the border, and look, the State Department, the CIA, they love this kind of stuff, man. This is like target practice for them, and it's our neighbor. Like, we don't, they don't even have to go. They don't even have to go very far. Jump on a chopper, go about 50, 60 miles, do their thing, come back, and they're home for lunch. So, look, it's going to get heated up over the next couple months, but that meeting today was basically her way of stepping out of the picture. And once that happened, which it did, I think you're going to start seeing things start to heat up. And the timing on this is kind of perfect if you think about it, because look, I know Trump has just a list of things he's going through. When he started his presidency, he has a list. It's this, and we're going to do these things. We're going to get the border closed first. Then we're going to get on these tariffs with China. Well, now we're kind of in like a holding pattern, because the tariff stuff's going to take a little bit of time. The trade war is going to work itself out. We need a little bit of time for that, for the negotiations with all these different countries. So now he's looking at the next one on the list, which again, the setup was done months ago when he designated them as a terrorist organization, all the gangs, or all the drug cartels. And now now it's up on the list, and he's going to start acting. I feel like the whole point of this is not to really completely eliminate them, because I said this in previous podcasts. If you eliminate your enemy completely, that gap is going to refill with a new enemy. That's the way it always works. You kill a drug dealer, 10 minutes later, there's another one standing on the corner where he used to stand. It never stops. But it could always be, the next one could be worse. You see what I'm saying? So I think the idea here is to beat them back into submission to where they understand, look, if we screw with the United States on a certain level, they're coming for us. And Trump's a shock and awe kind of guy, so I feel like they're going to go down there and bomb the hell out of something. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but they're going to go bomb the hell out of something to send that message, get these cartels scared. Now, by letting the Mexican president kind of bow out of this whole situation, it takes her out of danger, because again, she would be definitely a good candidate to get assassinated if she was in charge of this whole situation. She just doesn't have the power down there to do what the United States is going to want to get done. So he's going to go down there, beat the cartels up a little bit, and they'll have some backdoor meetings with him and tell him, look, this is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're not allowed to do. Stop trafficking the fentanyl in our country. It's killing 200,000 people a year. If we continue to see that, we're going to come drop bombs on your head. And, again, they're going to realize real quick that he ain't playing around, because, you see what Trump's done in the past. Once he starts, man, he's on fire. But it's going to be interesting to watch over the next couple months. But now that they had this meeting between him and the president over there, I'm pretty sure this whole thing's about to get started. And look, the cartels are well armed, and they've got some decent technology, but man, you're dealing with the U.S. military now, and it's not even in the same league. It's going to be target practice for these guys, and they're going to beat them back into submission, and then that's going to further tighten the border down, but it's also going to stop a lot of the fentanyl, because look, you hate to say it, but there's always a certain amount of drug dealing and international crime that is tolerated from countries. It is, you can say it's a terrible thing, but every government does it. They tolerate a certain amount, okay? But what's not going to be tolerated is all these fentanyl deaths. And I think, you've been hearing Trump talk about this for years, really. And that's the number one thing in his mind. So I would imagine that after they go bomb the crap out of them a little bit and get everybody scared, I would imagine that these meetings are going to go something like, hey, look, either you stop trafficking fentanyl across our border. If you do that, we'll let you exist and stay down there and do your business and do your, small amount of business in the United States. However, if this continues to come over the border and kill all our people are going to demand that we completely wipe you out. And look, again, if you're the cartels, you're gonna take the deal on that because they can't stop the U.S. government. That's a fact. And like I said, I don't think we're looking to completely wipe them out because, as negative as is to say, they do create a certain amount of stability down there in certain ways. They actually even keep the crime. They control the crime is what I'm trying to say. And if you get rid of them completely, well, does crime get worse? Does it get better? It's really hard to say. And a lot of times in the past, we've gone in and dealt with countries and removed leadership and removed, war generals and stuff like that. And it ended up blowing up in our face because things actually got worse. So rather than completely eliminating them, I think they're going to just go down there, beat them up a little bit, and try to get them on board with our program. But so we'll see, man. I think it starts now, though. That meeting to me was the first shot fired, and we'll see what happens next. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. This is Eddie from Studio 321. Talk to you soon.